the Saw franchise, which probably about a year ago, I watched all of the Saw movies, the entire franchise. I did my top 5 Saw movies. So if you want to go back and check that out, please do. A franchise of movies that really did a lot to interweave a very meta type of story throughout, and got kind of confusing. The most recent movie was took a different take on the Saw franchise and made it feel more like Seven in a lot of ways. It was starring Chris Rock, was kind of the lead of the newest Saw movie. I think it was called Spiral, came out during the pandemic, and it did well. It did well. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite Saw movie, but I liked what they tried and did. I liked that they kind of went away from it being as gritty as the majority of Saw films, cleaned it up a little bit more, made it feel kind of like Seven, even though Seven is a pretty gritty movie itself, but it became more about the detectives versus the people who were being trapped in the Saw game. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. Lionsgate and Twisted Pictures are going into production on another Saw movie, which will hit theaters in October 27th, 2023. Kevin Greertart, who directed Saw 6 and Saw the Final Chapter and edited Saw 1 through 5, Jigsaw, will helm the latest installment, which will bring the number of pictures in the franchise up to 10. The last one to be released was Saw reboot Spiral. I don't like the way this is written at all. Spiral, starring Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. I forgot Samuel L. Jackson was in it. That movie could have been a lot better. It wasn't horrible. I mean, we're talking about the Saw franchise. Not a big bar, not a high bar. But for those two actors, especially Samuel L. Jackson, would have liked a bit more. But it was still interesting. I liked what they were trying to do. I liked that attempt more than anything. But that movie, which was released during the pandemic and made over $41 million worldwide. The plot is under wraps with a new film, the Saw movie. The Saw movies, in general, all of the movies, have grossed over $1 billion. That's crazy. But it is iconic. I mean, I think the first Saw movie is probably the best because it's the simplest. All the other movies really try and get into weaving this intricate type of backstory to everything, which ends up getting really confusing the more you go into the franchise. A franchise that's pretty much just torture porn, but it's really interesting what they tried to do. They tried to make what is essentially a torture porn horror movie into a very cerebral kind of a thing, and the balance wasn't struck. I don't believe. I think it was a bit imbalanced, but I did like what they tried to do with Spiral. And I'll watch. I watched all the other ones. I think I purchased them. Got a bundle on iTunes, Apple Movies, and just bought all of them for probably like $40 or whatever it was. 2 years ago when I watched those movies. But I'll watch it for sure, just out of curiosity.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.